Oh shit, we're live. Hey Kevin. Hey people who aren't Kevin. Today, since Kevin's professor isn't able to, we're gonna make a real tutorial on how to set up DNS and DHCP. Let's get started. Alright, step 1 is going to Server Manager, Tools, and DNS. And once in there, we've got a bit of it configured, but nothing we've set up yet. So we're gonna right click on the server, configure a new DNS server, hit next, and choose a forward lookup zone. So what this does is make a server that can take requests for something like google.ca or any domain name, and then turn that into an IP your computer can send out through the network and get a response from the server on the other side of it. So we're going to click next, we're going to have the server maintain this zone, and we're going to set the server to my hypothetical domain name, which is sms16.com. We're going to create a new file, and we're not going to allow dynamic updates, since we may be adding it later with Active Directory. So next, and then usually we would add a forwarder, so if this server doesn't know a certain domain like google.com, it would forward it out to, you'd usually put your ISP or Google themselves, but since we don't have any internet connection, there's no point in doing it right now. So once that's done, we're going to hit finish here. We're going to ignore this since we don't have internet, and then we're going to go to our forward lookup zone, open our new zone, and then we're going to add a new basic A record. Right click here, new host, and I'm going to add my Peppermint Linux VM because I've got it running in the background. Ben-pmt-vm, I think it is, yep. And we're going to add that to 192.168.2.5. And I've got that hard-coded on the VM right now. We're just going to add host. And that's how you add an A record. We'll ping that later. So now on to DHCP. So we're going to go back to tools, we're going to open up DHCP, and we've once again got a bit of the server set up, but nothing we've applied, so it's not going to do anything yet. We've got to open up the server, click on IPv4, and then we've got to open a new scope. So this is the group of IPs that will be given out by the server. I'm just going to use internal-main as the name. So here we're going to set the scope 192.168.2.1 to 254 since 2.0 and 2.255 are network addresses. We're going to use /24 or 3255s and a 0 for the subnet. So we're going to exclude the first 5 IP addresses, so 192.168.2.1 to 2.5. 2.5, we'll add that, and then we'll go next here. And now we're going to look at the lease duration, which is how long the device will hold an IP for before either asking to get a new one or asking to renew its lease on this one, and it might get a new DNS server or a new default gateway. So then we're going to push next, and yes, I want to configure them now. Usually the default gateway is the .1 address of the subnet, so we're going to add 192.168.2.1, hit next. The DNS is already there since we set that up before on the same server. You can see that address is there, so we'll hit next, wins, next, activate it now, and we'll hit finish. Now you can see the scope is there. We're going to look at the server options, there's nothing there, but if we open up the scope and look at the options for the scope itself, you'll see we have our router and our DNS server pre-configured. If we go up to our address pool, we'll see the lease that we have. And if we go to our leases, we'll see the devices that have leased an address. It looks like my VM has grabbed another lease on another port. That's all right. And we've got some other options you can right click through here, but they don't really matter. So now I'm on my test VM and I'm going to open up command prompt. And once in command prompt, I'm going to type in ipconfig/release, which will release its old lease with the last DHCP server. And then I'm going to enter ipconfig/renew, which will get a new lease with the new DHCP server. And now that we have a new IP address from the new DHCP server, we're going to test out DNS by pinging that A entry I made with the Peppermint VM before. So I'm going to enter the host name here, and then this request is going to send this name to the DNS server, which will respond with the IP. And as you can see, it resolved our IP properly, and we're getting a response from my Peppermint VM. And that's how you set up DNS and DHCP. Let me know if you have any questions, Kevin, and other people I might respond.